Welcome back everybody, and today we are going to look at products. Finally, we can actually start to move our business forward and buy some stuff. I hope you're as excited as I am to go through this module. You're going to learn a lot of things about how to source products and what type of products are going to be good for your industry. Now, I hope you've been through our industry niche video as well, and you've got your chosen niche down to maybe one or two choices. Maybe you still have a little bit to go on that, but that's okay because we've already discussed a lot of the strategies to choosing a good niche. But another strategy that we haven't talked about when it comes to choosing a niche are the products. You might think you're already in the perfect niche, but if you can't find the right products, then you might have to go back to the drawing board. So pay attention to this one. I hope it's got some great ideas and insights to help you get your niche nailed down and work out where to buy the best products for your business. When it comes to choosing products, there's a really good saying from Seth Godin, who wrote a very famous book called Purple Cow, all about transforming your business. And in that book, he said, don't find customers for your products. Find products for your customers. And that says a lot. A lot of resources go into marketing. But what about those existing customers? What are they looking for? It's much easier to find products for the people that we already have than to find new people for the products that we have. So always keep that in mind. In the previous module, we talked about repeat business and getting into industries where people are going to come back to us again and again. And that is a form of finding products for the customers, finding things that the customers already have. But we're going to go a little bit deeper than that when we look at Google Trends today. So let's get started. When it comes to choosing products for your business, I think small is best if possible. These are going to be much easier to store. So you can work from home, you can store them from home. And that is going to help reduce all of those operations costs if you can store everything in your garage or in a spare room. When I had my kite surfing business, I had kites in the attic and surfboards in the shower. I was always looking for space in my little house to store stock as I scaled up. Eventually, I did end up with a very big warehouse, but I couldn't have sustained those costs in the early days, which is why I stored everything in my house, no matter how inconvenient it was to try to take a shower. And when you have a smaller product, they're going to be much easier and much less expensive to ship. That's going to make them convert much better for your customers. If they buy a product that's maybe $50 or $100 and suddenly the shipping is $40 or $50 because it's so big or heavy or bulky, that's probably going to put them off. And if you have to give them free shipping, maybe you could build it into your price. But again, it's going to make the price significantly more expensive. So finding smaller items that are easy and inexpensive to ship is going to help you sell more and keep your costs down even further. And when it comes to lower costs of shipping, well, that opens you up much easier to global markets. Sending something big, bulky, and heavy to the other side of the world can be prohibitively expensive. Have you ever bought a sofa from halfway around the world? Of course you haven't, because it's just too expensive to ship. It's too prohibitive. And what if something goes wrong? Imagine trying to return a sofa halfway around the world. But if it's something small, that makes it much easier to scale globally. If your industry allows it, if it's possible, try to think small products. It's not always going to work out for you, but if you can find something that works there, fantastic. It's going to give you a great advantage in your business. When it comes to the pricing of goods, expensive is a choice. You can decide whether you want to go high-end, luxury, premium price products or lower price, probably faster selling products. There are pros and cons to each, but let me talk you through some of my insights because I have experience working at both ends of the market. Often if you're dealing with more expensive items, you should then have more profit per item sold. Selling $1,000 items more often than not will contain a lot more profit than selling $100 items. And that means you can earn more money with less logistics, less work and less costs of shipping and managing orders. So while sometimes we just look at the gross profit, we should also consider how much resources have to go into organizing and managing a lot of orders for just a small amount of orders on a very expensive product. But a lot of people in business already know this. So it's very tough to get in on some of the higher ticket items. And a lot of times margins can be squeezed because of that, because everyone would rather sell the more expensive goods because there is that perception that it's possibly going to be easier to make money with less work. And that can make the entry difficult. especially if it's a branded premium product. You'll find all those top brands, for example, something like Rolex, or maybe a high-end sports brand, or a well-known electronics brand, that they will not just supply to anyone. You can't rock up to Samsung headquarters and say, I want to buy 1,000 of your latest phones. They're not going to let you do it. And even if you go to a local distributor, it might be easier, but they're still going to make you jump through a lot of hoops. And you'll probably find those margins are going to be very tight. But it's not impossible, and there are some really good things that you can do to get around that, which we will discuss. And of course, if you're dealing with high-end, more premium products, then your marketing needs to be more high-end and needs to be more premium. The brands won't let you sell their premium product with low-level marketing. It needs to be high, and that requires a lot of experience or a lot of money spent on expensive ads and expensive agencies. So again, that makes it more difficult to break into those highly desirable, highly expensive products. But one of the things that you can do today, which I highly recommend, is self-branding. There are some huge advantages right now, especially with AI, where you can take your own product and brand it yourself. It used to be that you needed expensive cameras, models, marketing agencies to help you with a brand so that you could create really premium looking products. Let's not kid ourselves. A lot of those premium brands cost only a tiny fraction to make when compared to what we buy them for. All that money is going into very expensive marketing campaigns. But we are on the cusp of everything changing, because with AI, you can now brand products, even products of your own, in a very professional way without spending a ton of money or without needing a lot of expertise. Just look at some of these adverts that are available now, all generated by AI and not difficult to do. Later on in the premium tiers, I'll be showing our clients how they can make similar adverts just like these ones that can take your product and make the branding super premium. Just by that good quality branding, you're going to be able to command a much higher price and have a much higher profit margin. If you're bringing in your own products, definitely don't sell them too cheap. Start premium, and if you absolutely must, you can discount the price later. But what is very difficult to do is to start with a cheap product and decide to put the price up or decide to try to make it more premium. Once you're labeled as a cheap brand, it is almost impossible to escape that label. You've got it for life. But if you've went in at high ticket, luxury, high end and decide to throw out some offers and discounts, there's a very good chance you're going to create a little bit of hype, and you'll find that really sought after balance of fast selling products that also have very high profit margins. You should also consider exchanges and returns. Products that come in various sizes and require specific fits for specific people are often returned, and that's a problem because that costs you money, especially in some markets where it's on the seller to cover the return costs, because that can be a big drain on your resources. And what you will find, even if you're in a country where people don't have to cover the return costs of something that doesn't fit, they can get a little bit sneaky and they start to pretend something was misdescribed or something was wrong with it so that you're then responsible for paying for their return. And it's something you really don't want to be dealing with. You want to get on with running your business, not arguing with customers who are trying to save themselves a few pounds. So when there's a question to them of, will this fit me? That can be a problem for you, and it can stop them buying the actual product because they don't want to have to deal with the return either. And that can really lower conversion rates. And of course, if you have a product that requires multiple sizes and multiple colors, that one product is going to take up a lot more space because you need to hold all the different sizes and all the different colors. Whereas if you have a product, let's say, for example, a mouse mat that comes in one size, and you decide to buy 100 of them, well, 100 of that particular product are 100 products available to sell. But let's say it was a t-shirt that came in 5 different sizes and 5 different colors. Well, just to have 100 of each of those things would require 2,500 of the t-shirts because there's 25 different combinations. So you got to think about that. And that's why I don't really like the clothing industry or anything remotely similar. I'm not saying never ever sell clothes, never ever sell products that come in different colors or sizes, but just be aware that it can be a lot of extra work and you're going to need much bigger margins to make it worthwhile. And when it comes to quality, it's absolutely paramount. There is absolutely no excuse and no room for bad quality in your e-commerce store. You cannot let it happen. If you have a high quality product, you can have a higher price, which means better margins. But even more importantly, you're less likely to get returns because people like what they've received. So you're not dealing with all those damaged boxes coming in, things going missing, refunds, and the costs of covering returns. And one thing I should have already mentioned when we were talking about products with different colors and sizes is in a lot of countries, you have to refund any delivery costs that people have had. So if you send out some items and the deliveries cost you £10 and they don't like it and they send it back at their expense, that original delivery cost that they paid still gets refunded to them. And that is true in many, many countries. So every time somebody returns something, all of those logistical nightmares are in play and you're guaranteed to be down money because you don't get your original delivery fee back. So when you're on a high quality product, if you have less returns, there's much less chance of losing money on sales because people like it when they get it. They don't want to return it. And receiving good quality items creates loyalty with your customers. We talked about trying to find a niche or an industry where people might want to come back to your business and buy again and again, whether that's add-on products or additional products, whatever it happens to be. And that can be a huge advantage for any e-commerce store. But if those products are not good quality, the chances of people coming back are massively reduced. But if you're sending out really amazing quality at a great price, people are going to be happy and they're much, much more likely to buy from you again and again. And that is going to help your business scale with every single new customer that you get. And of course, with good quality products comes a good reputation. Online reputations are very transparent nowadays. People will talk about you on social media, they'll leave reviews on your Google business page, on other review websites. And if it's all positive, that is a great advertisement, it's great marketing for your business, and it's going to encourage other people to come to you. But if there's a lot of negativity there about bad quality products, it is an active advertisement publicly telling people not to buy from you. And that can be very, very difficult to recover from. So as you can see, having good quality produce is going to have a huge effect on the success and profitability of your business. And it's going to be a lot less stressful when customers are always happy. And here we are, we're back with Google Trends. Very easy to find. A quick reminder, if just in case you haven't seen the last video, go to your internet browser, search for Google Trends and click on the top result, which is going to be Google Trends. Let's start our exploration with a search for snowboarding and see what Google Trends has to say about that industry. So it's defaulted to United States, so we'll run with that. It's given me the past 24 hours. And of course, as you know, we're not looking at news, trends, or current affairs. We want data on industries and products. So we're much better to look at something like the past 5 years. And as we can see, that's updating. And just recently, it's peaked at 100% at the highest search volume. And when we go back, probably the highest peak of that was 49 back in February 2022. So a similar time, fast forward 4 years, we are at 100. We're at peak searches world or in United States for snowboarding. Now, why do you think that would be? Well, you might have guessed it, you might not. This is the time the Winter Olympics are on. So there must be a much bigger feature in snowboarding right now than what there has been in the past. And Google Trends has spotted that it's super, super popular to search for snowboarding right now worldwide. But we're interested in snowboarding products and snowboarding brands. What we can do with Google Trends is really quite fantastic when it comes to helping us decide which are the best products, what's up and coming, which are the best brands. And just recently, Google Gemini has integrated with Google Trends. If you don't know what Gemini is, it's Google's own AI. It's its version of ChatGPT, and they're doing a lot of really, really good work on that. And what we can do is look at suggest new terms. What are your areas of interest? So if I was to put snowboarding into this and clicked on find search terms, it's going to crank its cogs, and below we can see it's coming up with some suggestions. I'll just move myself here to the other side so you can guys see all that. Types of snowboarding, snowboarding gear and equipment, popular UK snowboarding resorts, snowboarding tips for beginners. Now we're looking for products, so let's look for types of snowboards. And let's see what it says about the past 5 years of snowboarding types. And right here we have different types of snowboard. I'm just going to move myself again. We'll go up the top right so that we can see this data and how it displays. So we have a graph over time and we have different colors. And as we can see, those colors are corresponding to different types of snowboards. And the interesting thing about that is we can see what are the most popular types of snowboards according to different markets. So right now we're looking at United States. And dominantly that has been whatever is in blue, more or less on the top of the search, which is a split board. Now, as a snowboarder, I know what that is. That's a board that you can break into two pieces, put it in your luggage, and then put it back together. And that really surprises me because it's quite a niche product, but probably a lot of people search for it because it's a very interesting product. But just recently we can see in red, something has really jumped on overtaking it. And that is in red, the Park snowboard, this one here. So again, we could go and click on that, find out more about it and do more research on it. But we can see that is a growing trend. So that's going to give us really good insights into whether we might want to stock that type of snowboard. And we can also do the same with brands. Here we already have a suggestion for top snowboard brands, and when I click on that, we're going to get some of the same sort of data coming through. And there we have it. We can see the interest over time for all these different snowboarding brands, and it's highlighted in different colors, which is growing, which isn't. And there seems to be one that's dominating, and that is Never Summer. It's getting a much bigger proportion of search, and that we can see is Never Summer. Its search volume is growing more than the other ones, and it's quite dominant in the market. So we can take that data and make decisions about what brands we might want to buy or which product type that we might want to buy. We're going to be able to spot trends of things that are growing in popularity, and we're going to be able to compare brands and compare products, and that is going to help us find products for our customers. If we remember back to Seth Godin and his Purple Cow book that I mentioned at the start, you should be looking for products for your customers, not customers for your products. Of course, we're always going to have to look for customers, but what he means by that is try to find out what your customers are looking for. If you're stocking the things that they want, you're going to be much more successful rather than trying to just guess at it and then going to your customers and telling them you need this, you need that. It's going to be much easier if they're coming to you because you have what they've been looking for. And of course, that's going to save you gathering up a whole mound of products that have to be discounted because they were too hard to sell. So do spend a bit of time on Google Trends, get familiar with it, do some other tutorials on it as well. This is just the tip of the iceberg, but you will find it a really, really good tool, and everyone in every industry should be using it if they're trying to find products for their customers. And you'll be very happy to know we are done for today. That's everything I have to give you to help you to choose the right products for your store. I hope you find some useful nuggets of information in there. And as always, if you have any questions, post them up in our community and I'll be there to answer them myself. Thank you again for subscribing. Thank you again for listening. And I hope you're enjoying all the information so far. Have a great day.